Sairam, everybody. As usual, our process of discussion, deliberation, and internalization, Chintan Manthan Manan, for the intellectual evolution of we Avadhutas. Now, today's topic in the direction is very interesting and very intriguing. It is called Utkranti. What is Utkranti? How is it done? Should it be done or not? Who is capable of doing? So basically, these are all the questions that crop up in our minds. What is Utkranti? First of all, what is Utkranti? Transliteration of Utkranti is to elevate, is to liberate, is to move away from. In certain context, it is also called as Utkranti, means levitate. Basically, you are moving out of, exiting, right? This is the transliteration and specific meaning of Utkranti, the word in Sanskrit. However, for we, the Avadhutas and yogis, Utkranti means shedding our body at our own free will and accord with the yogic techniques. That is called Utkranti. Now, I will repeat myself. A yogi or an avadhuta or a siddha or a sadhu, somebody who has Brahma Jnana, who is a master of all the yogic practices, who leaves his body, he or she leaves their body at their own free will and accord, using the yogic techniques and practices. That is the meaning of Utkranti for we the yogis, right? Now, we will rest Utkranti as a topic. We will visit again. So, what it goes on to say, Utkranti means we are shedding the body at our own free will and accord. Is that the only way? Is that the only way to shed the body in spiritual space, in spiritual practices, through spiritual practices? Is Utkranti the only way? No, it is not. There has been a practice in our tradition, in this land of Sanatana Dharma, to shed the body of their own free will and accord in a different ways. It is very prevalent in today's world in Jainism. Jainism, there is a practice called Sallekhana Kriya. What is Sallekhana Kriya? Is to fast and shed the body by fasting, by not consuming anything, no food, no water, nothing. They just fast and eventually body shuts down and they shed the body. That is Sallekhana Kriya. In Hinduism, the same fasting to shed the body is called as Prayopavesha. What is Prayopavesha? Is not to consume any food and shed the body at their own free will and accord. They just leave the body by fasting. Prayopavesha. Right? There is another thing, another way of shedding the body in Hinduism, which is more often performed by the yogis, sadhakas, and siddhas. It is a blend of Utkranti, they can perform Utkranti, or they can perform Nirmana Kaya. What is Nirmana Kaya? That is another way of disintegrating the body. We are going by different ways of shedding the body. So we spoke about what is, Utkranti, we will come to specifically because which is relevant to us. We spoke about Sallekhana in Jainism, Prayopavesha in Hinduism. There's another way of shedding the body, which is Nirmana Kaya in Hinduism or yogic order. And another way is Jivanta Samadhi. Jivanta Samadhi. When somebody goes, he's alive, they're in the body, and they are buried. There is a room that they build below the earth, deep below. This sadhu or the saint goes and sits there in a meditative state, and they cover the whole thing. They cover the they put the slabs, and then they cover the room which is below the earth, which is called the Jivanta Samadhi. They don't bury, don't put the mud and everything. They cover it. And then on that they put the mud, and that becomes a Jivanta Samadhi. When somebody goes for a Jivanta Samadhi, they can do two things. One is Nirmana Kaya, the other one is Ullekhana. What is Nirmana Kaya? Sri Mahavatar Babaji, he did Nirmana Kaya. Likewise, many people have done Nirmana Kaya. What they do, Kaya, Sharira, Nirmana, to manufacture or produce or create. So what they do is they disintegrate the elements. They don't remain in the physical form. They just sit in a place and disintegrate all the five elements to their sources: the earth, the water, the warmth of the fire, the air, and the ether. They just disintegrate. They are there. Dattatreya, Sri Adiguru Dattatreya performs Nirmanakaya. He goes all over. People have that he was born in Chitrakoot or something. No, very clear. He was born in Himalaya, Gopeshwara and above, Atri Muni's ashrama. Born as in, he appeared, integrated. After that, he is a Guru Tattva, and he goes and spreads the entire Guru Tattva among all along the world, starting from east to west, and goes around India, gives the importance of Guru Tattva, teaches Tripura Rahasya, gives Avadhuta Gita to Parashurama, and everything done. So Guru Tattva is well established. Then he says, I'll appear as and when required. He comes down to the Western India, where he goes to Girnar. He climbs up the mountain of Girnar. There, he is wearing his Paduka. He leaves the Paduka and he disintegrates into five elements. He does it. His body disintegrates. And whenever he wants, he integrates and comes back. But he chose to come as Anshavatara, Karanavatara, Purnavatara. And for us, Purnavatara for Sri Adiguru Dattatreya is Sri Sainath Maharaj of Shirdi. Now, that is Nirvana Kaya, disintegrating the elements and integrating at our own free will and accord. That is Nirvana Kaya. And the other one which they can do is Utkranti. What is Utkranti? Utkranti is to shut the body with the yogic practice and power. So shedding the body at our own free will and accord has a different ways. In Jainism, Sallekhana Kriya. In Hinduism, Prayopavesha. Then Nirmanakaya, Jivanta Samadhi, and Utkranti. Right? Different ways of shedding the body. Now, is it a suicide? No, it is not. So let us not misconstrue this to be some people have written that, in some of the texts, it's even in the internet, Utkranti is not explained explicitly. I think for the first time we are talking about Utkranti so explicitly. Nobody has spoken about it. But some rare texts and this one notes that they have made where they are said that Utkranti is a spiritual suicide. No, it is not. Certainly not. It is one of the most dignified way of shedding the body. Now what happens? So that is rested. It is not a suicide. It is just ending the body. Very fact that not a common man can perform Utkranti. A yogi of a different, highest of level can perform Utkranti. An avadhuta of highest level can perform Utkranti. Not anybody can do. So that is rested. Now, this way of shedding the body in different ways, is it right? First of all, morality comes to the question of is it right or wrong? Well, let us not get into that. More than that, let us understand why. When you know why it is done, then we will be able to find out whether it is right or wrong more easily. Any yogi, any sadhu, siddha, tapasvi, rishi, maharshi, they reach and attain a point in their spiritual practices that they can live to eternity. Their body is so well in sync with the nature, they don't have to eat any food. The body, their sthulakaya, is so much in sync with the nature. They walk on Mother Earth. Whatever the nutrients that the body wants or is needed is just absorbed by the feet, and the whole body is well nurtured. The air, in any case, is consistently being inhaled. The warmth or the fire element is always working within. The moisture in the air comes and the water element gets absorbed into the body. They don't need to eat at all. They also take over and absorb the diseases and discomforts of some of the devotees and disciples on themselves. But within a matter of time, the elements will realign itself and all that they have taken on themselves gets cured. So they have reached that state that they can live forever. They can eat, like continuously eat. Non-stop they can eat. Doesn't make a difference. They don't eat at all. Doesn't make a difference because the absorption of nutrients or whatever for the body is required from Mother Earth is absorbed directly as soon as they keep their feet on the ground. So when we have reached that position, that state, I'll give you an example. One of the greatest monks who has lived amongst us, so he had performed that more often till their old age or whatever. They feel that, enough. It's only the body I will shed. So I'll shed the body and then I will continue my work with or without the body. That's all. Very simple. I am eternal. I am the Brahman. I am the Atma. I am the conscience. I am the Sakshi. Body has to go, but because of this spiritual height that one has attained, the body will never go. It recalibrates itself and remains. Two examples I give. First example is Sripada Sri Vallabha. Sripada Sri Vallabha is born very young. Dattatreya's Purnavatara. He just goes into the water. He says, very young boy. He says, yeah, Forget it. No point. He sheds the body, he performs the Nirmana Kaya, disintegrates, walks into the river, Krishna Nadi, and disintegrates. Then he appears again as Narasimha Saraswati. When he appears as Narasimha Saraswati in Ganagapur, integrates and comes as, then he sheds. Then he comes, he appears as Manik Prabhu. Then he sheds the body. Then he comes as Swami Samartha of Akkalkot. So this whole thing, the same Chaitanya, it's performing Nirmana Kaya again and again and again. Finally, when he comes as, Akkalkot Maharaj Swami Samartha, he says, now I will integrate with Sri Shirdi Sainath Maharaj, and you see me there in Shirdi henceforth. So that Chaitanya, it's all the same. So Dattatreyas Purnavatara dissolves in his own Purnavatara, Sri Sainath of Shirdi. So that's one example. Second example is a Trailanga Swami. Trailanga Swami, known records, was one of the greatest saints who was born in Andhra Pradesh, Dakshina Bharata, and goes to Kashi. He's a Shakti Upasaka. Then he becomes a complete yogi. That Trailanga Swami has lived for 300 years. There are records to that. 300 years, 300 plus years. Then finally he says, enough. Then he says he sheds the body, but he doesn't perform the Nirmana Kaya. He performs Utkranti. And he says, let the body have the Salila Samadhi. What is Salila Samadhi? Letting go of the body in the waters. So at Kashi, Trailanga Swami's body was confined to Ganges. They let it go in because he had said that. But it doesn't, go under the water at all. It's floating. Trailanga Swami's body is not floating around. It is just static on Maganga. It's just not going down. He shed the body. He's performed Utkranti. Because such was the elevated master that he was, that his body was on the water, but it was the water itself, the one of the elements. So it just was not going down. It was not sinking into the water. Then finally people prayed that, Swami, your body is not getting under the water at all. It is not sinking at all. Then in a minute or two, the body just went down into the Ganges at Kashi, Manikarnika Ghat. This is what happened. It's recorded. Trailanga Swami, having lived for 300 plus years, is recorded. You can Google it, Trailanga Swami. Now, having given these examples, now we understand that body beyond a certain point becomes an impediment for the master to function. Body becomes an obstacle because when a master is in a particular place in the body, people always try to reach there, try to reach that saint wherever he is. So their thoughts and their attention more so is restricted to the geographical location of that saint. That's number one. So omnipresence and omnipotency of that avatar or an avadhuta is not lived up to the mark. So that is one of the reasons. Second, the saint knows, or that avadhuta yogi, sadhaka, siddha knows that, okay, the body is never going to go. Like Trailanga Swami got to know that the body is never going to go. So he performs Utkranti. Likewise, you see many of the masters, they specifically say when they will leave, and they leave their body at that moment. That you should understand that they are performing Utkranti. Sri Sainatha of Shirdi was very clear when he is going to shed the body on the Vijayadashmi day, which is at 2:30 to 3:30 in the afternoon. So he decided that on the Vijayadashmi day, so he just sent everybody to their homes. He said, "You all go have lunch and rest." He was sitting alone, barring two or three, disciples. He shed the body. He left it peacefully. He sent everybody home. So that is how the saints and the monks perform Utkranti. So Utkranti is not for everybody. It is not a spiritual or a yogic suicide. It is very clear. It is a way and how the masters leave the body at their own free will and accord using the yogic practices. Right? What is Utkranti? We know. And what is the necessity of performing the Utkranti? We know. We have understood these two things. Now, there is one more part of this Utkranti sadhana yoga, wherein the master sheds the body for a few minutes, for a few hours, or for a few days, and comes back. That is also part of Utkranti. We have our own guru who has done that, Sri Sainatha. He has done that. But remember this very specifically, that that cannot exceed more than 72 hours or 3 days. If it is beyond 3 days, it has to be confined to elements, or we have to perform the last rites of that body. Very clear. 3 days, 72 hours. So what happens in Shirdi? Baba calls Bhagat Mahalasapati and he says, look, I'm going to go out of the body, preserve this body, take care of this body for only 72 hours, that is 3 days. If I don't come back, perform the last rites. Saying so, he sleeps on the lap of Bhagat Mahalasapati and sheds the body. Zero pulse. No pulse at all. And he sheds the body. And he exactly at the 72nd hour, many people in the village, especially people who are averse to Baba, who are always condemning and insulting and calling names to Baba, like the Kulkarni of the village or whatever. They were all saying that now you perform the last rites, he's gone. They call the police, they call the Tashildar and everybody. And then Malasapati says only one thing, 72 hours. After that, you do what you want. It's a command of my master. My guru has said 72 hours. At the 72nd hour, Baba comes back. So he has shed the body and he comes back. That technique of for a while shedding the body and coming back is also a part of Utkranti. Right? So this is how the Utkranti is as a yogic practice used by masters, many masters. Right? Now, how is it performed? How the Utkranti is performed? So first of all, the technique of doing the Utkranti, the sadhana, is not going to be imparted to anybody. So let there be not a curiosity about learning, right? There won't be. But what happens, how it is done is, first, the indriyas, the master shuts. We have pancha indriya, 5 sensory systems. The touch, the taste, the smell, the vision, right? The touch, the whatever is you feel with the touch, the taste, the vision, the smell, and what you hear, Shravana. So all the 5 sensory, systems will shut first. Why? Because they don't want to interact with the world outside. No influence. Then they let go of the mind. mind is gone. Maya is gone. Then they start shutting down the elements one by one. The organs from top to toe. They start shutting down. And then at that point of time, Mother Kundalini will start wrapping up. She starts from Mooladhara, dissolves the Swayambhu and Mooladhara itself, then Mooladhara Chakra, Manipuraka, Bhavasagara, Anahata. At Anahata, she dissolves even Ida, Pingala, Sushumna, Chitrini, Nadi. Then at Vishuddha, then Hamsa gets out. It doesn't become one with that entity, the Aham. At Anahata, even the conscience of the soul has become one with the Kundalini. At Agnya Chakra, everything gets dissolved, becomes one with. Just by then, Virata disintegrates. Virata is not part of it. Ekadasha Rudras go away. Then at Brahmarandra, from Brahmarandra Sahasrara, they become one and then they leave the body. So this is how the Indriyas shed, the organs shed very peacefully. They shed the body. That is called the Utkranti. This is I gave the basic, uh, input into how the body shuts. Coming to the other ways of shedding the body, like Sallekhana Kriya and Prayopavesha or Jivanta Samadhi. Jivanta Samadhi, I've explained clearly. Prayopavesha and Sallekhana Kriya, what happens is there the body suffers a bit, quite a bit. It suffers. So you have lied down, you stop consuming anything and everything. So the sensory organs are still functioning. Mind is still there. You are depriving the body of food, water, and you start reducing your breath slowly. And it takes anywhere between 30 days, 45 days, 60 days, depending on the calorie storage in the body. It starts getting used. 7 days, 9 days, it depends on each. So that is something which is not a yogi. You cannot uh, consider it as a yogic way of exiting the body. Both Prayopavesha as well as Sallekkhana. That is done by the human mind, human beings who are not evolved yet. So that may amount to, I would say, possibility of you can consider it or define it as a suicide, no doubt. But Utkranti is not, Nirmanakaya is not, Jivanta Samadhi is not, right? These are the different ways of shedding the body. And amongst them, the most, uh, advanced in terms of pure, strict technical yogic techniques that you use and shed the body are two, both Nirmanakaya as well as Utkranti, right? These are few words about Utkranti. And it is very, very rare. It's not very prevalent. Not everybody is privy to this knowledge and the technique. It's very rarely Utkranti is performed in this world. Even now they do, but very rarely. Right. Thank you, everybody. Thanks for the patient hearing. It's all about Utkranti. Sai Ram.